Hey, everybody. So you remember this? We showed this before. Sean King, the reporter for the New York Daily News, he tweeted out a picture in Danville, Virginia, and he said, and by the way, Sean King has a blue check by his name, so you know he's important. And says police in Danville, Virginia are putting the hoods of their cars up when they pull people over to block the dash cameras from filming them. So I put that up and we talked about how horrible that would be that they're doing that. And no, I just took it from Sean King because he's a real deal reporter. You know, he works for a real.
And I bet Sean King's going to have a lot of blue checks around him in the future.
Yeah, you know, he's not a self-employed guy like me. You know, doing things on my own as a comedian. He's a reporter, and I like to consider I come more from the artistic world. I think it's important to have artistic views of things, also mixed with news. You know, it's all, poets and artists and stuff. They get to comment on the culture and what's happening. And I think it's important to
they usually make the most lasting comments on a culture's history.
So I would, while I often play the part of talking head pundit,
yes.
I like to keep in touch with my artistic base. And I know it sounds pompous to call yourself an artist or whatever, but you know, George Carlin said stand-up comedy is definitely an art. It might not be a high art, but it's an art. But it definitely is a high art. In my mind, there's no doubt about it when it's done well and done correctly. So
it always has the potential.
So as does anything. So here, so then people were saying Snopes debunked this, Jimmy. Snopes debunked this. So I went to Snopes, right? So here's Snopes. And it says 2 images of 3 Danville, Virginia police vehicles with their hoods raised led to incorrect claims. The practice was sanctioned to obstruct dash cams. Now you got that's pretty suspicious, right? All of a sudden, cops are doing that. And so when Sean King tweeted that out, I picked up on it. And Snopes took a look at it. They say, here's what they say. They say it's mostly false. They say what is true, images depicting Danville police vehicles with raised hoods are genuine and unaltered. What's false? The vehicle's hoods were raised during a lengthy investigation on a hot day to prevent the units from overheating and not to obstruct the unit's dash cams, and the department has no policy allowing the latter.
Well, of course there's no policy with the Danville police. It's not a policy.
I agree.
For cops to obstruct the dash cam.
Right.
What a stupid question. Well, of course that's, So they asked the cops and they said, no, that's not policy. Well,
so Snopes asked the cops. They say, we contacted the Danville Police Department to ask whether the department had such a policy in place, i.e. allowing officers to obstruct dash cams, and to inquire about the images circulating on social media. And the officer with whom we spoke, this is Snopes talking, and the officer with whom we spoke was aware of the photographs and stated that no such policy in Danville permitted police to deliberately obstruct their vehicles' dash cams. Yeah, well, I wouldn't expect them to say that. That's their policy, to break the rules. He told us that the photographs were taken during the investigation of a civilian vehicle that had been hot up. That's in quotes, hot up. I don't know what that means. Adding that the investigation took place over the course of an afternoon, as police spent several hours combing the area for evidence such as shell casings. Since responding, vehicles remained at the scene for several hours. Officers lifted their units' hoods as a preventative measure to protect against overheating. Weather records demonstrate daytime temperatures in Danville ranged from mid-80s to the 90s during the week of August 24th, 2016. To the 90s. It doesn't say mid-90s, to the 90s. So I'm going to go 90, because if it was higher than 90, they would have said. In fact, I looked up what the heat was that day, August 24th in Danville. It was 84 degrees. That was the high.
Well, Jimmy, I bet a lot of police brutality happens on hot days.
So, yeah, I agree with you. So that my BS detector just goes off a little bit. Like, I've never heard of this practice. I've never heard of anybody go, hey, it's hot out today. but erase your car hood. I've been all over the world. I've never heard them do that. I've been to the Caribbean. I've never saw a cop car with their hood up in the Caribbean. Have you, Steph? You were in the Caribbean several times with me. That's pretty hot in the Caribbean. I've been to Venezuela. I've been to Key West. I've been to St. Bart's. I've been to Cozumel. I've been to Phoenix in the summer. I've been to Houston in the summer. I live in Los Angeles in the summer where it was 113 degrees. That was our high temp. I never saw a cop car with their hoods up to prevent overheating. I've never, ever. So that's why that go bing BS. That's not, something's going on. I don't know what, but that's not it. But that was enough for Snopes. So here they go in a separate emailed response. A representative from the Danville Police Department affirmed that circumstances and provided a more detailed explanation about why police vehicle overheating is a common issue. So I'm going to read this. This is from an email from the police to Snopes. It says the amount of electronic equipment in a patrol vehicle causes a substantial amount of heat to build up in the engine compartment. If you notice in the photos of the police cars, there are also cooling louvers on the hood. I didn't notice that. This was the first attempt to stop the overheating issues, which were disabling our vehicles and causing very expensive repairs. Our cars are in use 24 hours a day, and the photo of the two patrol vehicles was on a day with temperatures nearing 100 degrees. That's not, even Snopes said that's not true. Snopes, that's not what Snopes even said. So
I'm doing a close-up shot of these vehicles, Jimmy. I do not see these cooling louvers.
Cooling louvers? So I don't understand why they would say 100 degrees. Snopes said mid-80s to 90s. When I looked up that particular day, August 24th, it was 84 was the high.
When your motor overheats, you take it to a mechanic.
The hoods aren't.
Who pops their hood who pops their hood to cool down an engine on a hot day?
Or let's even talk about this.
That's like the guy who drives his car faster because it will cool down the engine.
Let me finish reading this. The hoods aren't opened unless the car is expected to idle with the emergency lights running for an extended period of time. The officers are equipped with body-worn cameras, so there is a backup to an in-car camera that captures any citizen encounter far better than their in-car camera. There are video systems for inside and outside the car, an emergency light bar, mobile data terminal, police radio, printer, and normal systems running off the heavy-duty batteries in the cars. This generates a tremendous amount of heat, which damages the engine electronics. The accusation that this is being done for any nefarious purpose, are completely false. We have had zero complaints from local citizens. The problems are well known to Chevrolet. May I suggest contacting Chevrolet directly and demanding a remedy for retrofitting of the correction at their expense. So that's what was emailed to Snopes, and then they went on. Snopes goes on. A follow-up article from the Register NB, I guess that's in the Danville, from the Register NB noted that the problem that prompted the raising of patrol car hoods was not literally an issue with engines overheating, but a, quote, continual heating problem that damages electrical components. Here it is. Here's what from the Register B, this is from the follow-up article. It says, community activists say the raised hood obscures the view of the dashboard camera, blocking the recording of whatever actions are taking place. Certain, quote, electrical parts in the engine will melt when the heat rises in the summer, according to Danville Police Lieutenant Mike Wallace. Police Chief Philip Broadfoot said it is not an overheating issue, it's a continual heating issue. So again, we're getting lots of different, again, even inside the own Snopes article, the police department's two emails contradict each other. One says it's an overheating issue. The other one says it's not an overheating issue. It's just a continual heating issue. Okay, so the only thing that makes me feel less upset about this is that, according to the police now, that there have been zero complaints. So the fact that there have been zero citizen complaints means that, okay, maybe that isn't happening what we originally said was happening, which was they were lifting their hoods so that the cameras. So maybe that isn't But that's just, you got to come on. And plus, at Snopes, the only people they talk to are the police. Snopes didn't even contact Chevrolet like the police told them to. So if you're going to put out an article debunking something and the police even say talk to the manufacturer, and then you don't even do that, and then you say we talked to the cops, they say it's all okay. That's not really debunking
Yes.
that. I'm not saying Snopes is even wrong. I'm saying that still we need much, much more. This is not. And again, I'm of the people always you got to give the benefit of the doubt to the cops. No, I'm of the go the other way. So I don't know if
I'm
that's
intrigued by how Snopes does their fact checking. This is the equivalent. If a cop went to a murder suspect, asked them if they did it, they said no, case closed. The
Case
murder
closed.
suspect said he didn't do it. So this is how Snopes is doing their fact checking. We asked the perpetrator if they did it. They said no.
So, and then you get conflicting. And by the way, I've never heard of this happening. I've never heard of another police. I've never seen a police car do this. Have you ever seen a police car with their hood up, even on 100-degree days anywhere ever? I've never seen this happen. Have you seen this happen?
I live in Pasadena, and it seems like it's
It's 100
consistently
degrees
100
all the
degrees.
time.
I've not seen one cop car pulled over trying to protect their canines from heat by
No.
lifting the hood.
By lifting the hood. I've never heard any of this. So they gave a couple of conflicting reports.
We live in the desert, and this doesn't happen.
Which makes my BS detector go off. Like, oh, now you're changing your story. And they didn't even note. They didn't even note that. Like, they don't even note that. Snopes doesn't even know. Like, yeah, their story changed a little. It's not exactly the same story. And we've never noticed that any other police department does this. Or again, like that would be more of a.
Jimmy, I'm saying nopes to Snopes.
We're saying nopes to Snopes.